Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Warcraft Rumble dungeon guide, I'm going to take a look at Gnomeregan on an Alliance or Cenarion week with an army for Malfurion. First, let's take a quick look at the Gnomeregan dungeon mechanics. The first boss, Crowd Pummeler, melee cannon attacks and knock player minis off the platform, and yeah, they do. However, flying minis, when they get knocked off the platform, they can just fly back. When ground minis get knocked off the platform, even in some of these gaps, they're just gone. So the main plan for this one is to take this meeting stone and then start attacking it from both sides. With ranged units, Chimera I suppose is the best one. Chimera can just do so many things and it can also recover from being knocked back, but any ranged units really can handle it if you send them from both sides so that the boss can't knock them all down quickly enough. Then there's also these protective devices, Gnomish Harm Prevention Belt, limited time protection, known to attract gnomes if left sitting too long. So these give the minis temporary shield, but also if they're here for a while, then a safe pilot will spawn and from the boss's side and grab them and then start attacking you. So you want to pick these up when you have time to use that, but the main thing is to get this stone and get these attacks from two sides going. The second boss, Electrocutioner 6000, is the most annoying and most difficult boss in all of the dungeons in this game, because you're just going to be swarmed by so many minis. It has rocket towers, so you can't outrange rocket towers, and these rocket towers also have this kind of mist around them that deals elemental damage to your minis. The boss itself deals a whole bunch of elemental damage, so you would kind of want to tank it with something resistant. Even a Quillbore will do, but also Fire Elemental used to be pretty sweet when it could also tank the rocket towers, but nowadays it doesn't do that nearly as effectively. So you need something to take the rocket towers. Sappers with rocket boots is the best option. If they don't have rocket boots, then at least one of the sappers is going to die, because slow sappers just are not fast enough to get underneath of the rocket. But rocket boot sappers, even if they're one-on-one against tower, they will be able to hit the tower. Gargoyle is another fine one. It's also armored, so it does pretty good job here. If you don't have rocket boots on your sappers, you probably want to use a gargoyle. And once you get both towers, you really have to get some towers here. Then you want to attack the boss and use a resistant tank to turn the boss around and then get some damage on it from behind. For example, Chimera can be very strong, but resistant tanks are the key to getting to the boss. And if you win the second map, you have basically won the dungeon, because Mekgineer Thermaplugg is not much of a boss. Control switches summon walking bombs for big damage. Thermaplugg has this shield here, so Thermaplugg takes very little damage otherwise, but there will be walking bombs coming over here or coming over here, depending on who is going to break through these switches. Switches cannot be claimed by flying, so you can claim them with ground troops and you can claim them with spells. You're just trying to keep minis on both sides of the map at all times, so that whenever these spawn, you get to destroy them immediately. So just go back and forth and always send miners whenever possible, because there's plenty of code here to mine and it's all very close to your base. And yeah, Thermaplugg is just a game of whack-a-mole basically, and then that's Gnomeregan. And this is my Malfurion army for Gnomeregan. Malfurion armies are typically a little bit different than most other leaders, because Malfurion heals all Alliance and Cenarion minis as they go lower in health, so you want to emphasize those minis. And in particular, what makes this army tick is this double tank team. So I have Bog Beast as a resistant tank, then I have Harvest Golem that just comes back alive again after it dies. So these are the real key pieces. Of course, I also have other stuff here, like I have Goblin Sappers that can take towers against the second boss, although they are more than one level below, which means that they can't take tower alone, which is why I have Well Pegs. And I have Witch Doctor here, a little bit of cheap range damage, and I have a Huntress here as well. Huntress is probably actually the weakest mini in this comp, but I did find that I need something with firepower in just a few occasions. So maybe you could replace it with something else, but it has to be in an Alliance slot, and there's not that many good options. So Huntress it is for now. And of course Malfurion itself. Malfurion can deal damage. Malfurion has a bunch of health itself. Don't underestimate it as a ranged mini either. And this is what Malfurion taking on Gnomeregan looks like in action. Here we go, up against the Crowd Pummeler first. So I really want to grab that meeting stone, and then I want to send minis from both sides if I can. So let's see what we can do about that. I'm trying to send some minis over there. Mekgineer coming on the left lane. That's a little bit tricky. I didn't really have anything good that I could send against the Mekgineer, so I just gave up on the left chest for now. That's not a very typical opener, by the way. You don't see it very often. Obviously, now that means that Mountaineer can just kill my base. I mean, a single Mountaineer can really kill my entire base. So now I have to try to defend the base here, but I got the stone for cheap. So quite atypical opener. A more typical one would be where there's a big fight over the stone, but the base is relatively secure at the start, and this one quite the opposite. But we should be able to recover from this. I think this was actually harder than just a fight over the stone would have been. So if we can make it through this, then we should be able to make it through the more regular openers as well. Here the Witch Doctor timing so that the chickens have went past the bear, so that the Witch Doctor is going to shoot at the chicken first instead of shooting at the bear, and then those chickens would have just been able to melt all of my defenses. Anyway, that was quite a struggle, and my base is in shambles. But it doesn't look too bad in a way, because I now have the middle stone. I have a pretty good setup here. I'm fully in control of the map. I'm going to get some more resources. I'm going to be able to... Now it's in the Huntress there, quickly to grab the belt, so because I saw that, okay, my base is so low health that I can't let my base just stay and tank the incoming enemy minis. Usually I just let my base tank some of those safe pilots, it's not a problem. But here, base health very low, need to be a little bit more proactive in defense. And then we're pressing the attack. Some Harvest Golems, with some Huntresses, with Malfurions. So this should go pretty well now. And indeed, Pummeler is taking a beating here. I would have Whelpex coming real soon, so let's drop some Whelpex out there. Although, maybe they're not even needed because Malfurion. Then the real boss of the dungeon, Electrocutioner. So this one, oh boy. I'm going to try to defend right at my base at the start, and then I'm going to try to grab some towers while I'm defending, hopefully. So that's why I'm waiting until the last moment. I'm positioning my troops very far. I want the fight to be very close to my base, so that those rocket towers won't get engaged in this combat, hopefully. That's the plan anyway. And then I'm trying to get these troops to blow up some of the enemies. They are somewhat successful. There is that troll, but one troll in that kind of position shouldn't be able to kill my base, and it wasn't. And now I'm going to get a tower, and that's really important, because if there's two towers and you have stuff in the middle, then you're just going to be in such a bad shape. But if you have one tower, then as you can see, all of a sudden the tower kills the troll, and now I didn't have to worry about the troll in the backline. And fight continues. Now we're fighting for the middle again. I have some chances that I might be able to grab a chest if one spawns in the middle. I have a pretty good defense setup. I have the tower guarding the middle, guarding the other lane. I like where we're at. We're in a very good position now. Tower extremely steady. All I need. Okay, now a little bit of time. Sappers in, followed by Whelpex. Well, positioning a little bit wrong. I should have positioned the Whelpex, I guess, so that they would have killed the Spiderlings, because that would have been possible. I could have dropped them on the other side, they would have killed all the Spiderlings while they take the tower. So, small positioning mistake there, but we can fix that. Another set of Sappers taking the tower back, and now Whelpex outside of the Poisonous Mist, so that they will then challenge the Harvest Golem. And I can also use Malfurion here. Malfurion will germinate the base, so trying to get some cover for the base. Is the tower going down? Nope, it's not. So Malfurion's power, the Seed of Protection. Seed of Protection just doing a wonderful job. And now that I have the dual rocket towers, I was also able to prevent the chest from falling in the wrong hands. And now this is looking really, really sweet. Malfurion is just outside of the reach of the boss, so it gets to fight against the Harvest Golem. No worries there. And now I have a resistant tank at the boss. And that's important, because resistant tanks are what really work against Electrocutioner. As you can see, Electrocutioner is pushing in a lot of damage, but the Bog Beast is handling it like a boss. Eventually died, but Electrocutioner already took quite a beating, and now I'm just sending in more Bog Beasts, so this is going to be so sweet. Also some Whelpacks, and boom, we win. Now, this army that I have here is not particularly good against Mekgineer, because as you can see, my army is a little bit expensive, and I don't have a lot of good ground minis. I don't have a lot of cheap ground minis that could just take things all over the place. But what I do have is I have Malfurion and Seed of Protection. And Seed of Protection means that, hey, even if Mekgineer is going to get more bombs than I'm going to get, then that probably just won't matter. Because every seed is going to negate the bomb. I can see bomb is coming. Pow! Negated by the seed. Bomb is coming. Pow! Negated by the seed. So, even though this is one of the weaker armies that I have ever used against the third boss of Gnomeregan, then this is just going to... Oh, losing that miner was terrible though. Should have positioned the miner on the other side so that it wouldn't go with everyone else, so that it wouldn't have been as vulnerable to safe pilot. But be it as it may, as you can see the health difference, even though I have only been able to get like half of the bombs, it doesn't matter, because Malfurion doing wonderful things. I do need to be ready to defend, and because this was one of those opening hands where the boss opens up with the Molten Giant, then that means that Whelpacks are super good here. I need to get some Whelpacks going, but I need to get some of these switches blown up first. Alright, then we get some Whelpacks, but now now that I got Whelpacks out there, then there's also an Ogre Mage. So this is actually a really tricky position. Ogre Mage plus Molten Giant, because usually I want to use completely different things to counter the two. But we'll see, we're working on it. Managing to mine a little bit. Even if I'm not immediately destroying things, at least I'm stalling quite well. And again, Seeds of Protection. That's just beautiful. And just look at the health difference between my base and the boss. It's immense. But now there's two Molten Giants coming, so obviously if those Molten Giants were to reach my base, then that could spell trouble as well. Let's see. I have Whelpacks out there again, but sad that those Whelpacks are not going to last. Okay. Now some bombs are coming. Now a lot of bombs are coming. Pow, 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 pow. There's even a safe pilot, but I managed to kill the Molten Giants. A couple of Ogre Mages, but I should be able to handle the pair of Ogre Mages, and then we're in control again. Alright, now this is looking good. The Seeds of Protection on the base. I'm getting some switches out, and yeah, this is a done deal. Phew. And yeah, I wasn't still that close to losing, even though I had some challenges, and of course the boss had a pretty sweet hand too. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.